rib roast night, and I'm going to show you how we make our rib roast and the dry rub to go with it. Alright, we got our roast rub all mixed up, and now we're going to coat our rib roast in a little bit of vegetable oil, rub them down with the dry rub, and then we're going to let them sit all day long, or you could let them sit overnight, and then you put them in the oven about 3 to 4 hours before you want to eat, because you cook them low and slow. Alright, we're going to cover them with a little vegetable oil. And this is just to make sure that the dry rub sticks to them good. So we rub the oil all over them. And then we take our dry rub mixture that we just made. And we're just going to sprinkle some over both. Just give them a good massage. Alright, our electric skillet is getting nice and super hot, and we're going to sear off our roast before we put it in the oven. Anna's going to help. We're going to put it in at 275 for about 4 hours. So let's get them searing. I just rolled them over and look at that coloring on them. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. Don't forget when you're searing yours off to get the sides and not just the top and bottom. Gotta sear it all the way around to make sure you trap all that delicious juice in the steak so it stays super moist. And there we've got them hanging out here on the roasting pan, and we're just going to cover them and stick them in the oven for a couple hours. So we're going to take 2 pieces of foil here, and we're going to fold them together to have a big wide piece of foil big enough to cover our entire pan. So just roll those together twice, and then we're going to fold this one over the seam like this. And now we have a giant piece of aluminum foil big enough to cover our pan here, and in the oven they go. They're going to hang out in there at the 275 for about 4 hours. Hey friends, I got my potatoes here, my reds and my goldens, and I've just quartered them up after I washed them, and I'm just going to cover them in a little bit of vegetable oil, and then cover them in some Italian seasoning, and just slip them in the oven right next to the roast. Alright, I got them all covered with some vegetable oil and Italian seasoning, and I'm just going to put my lid right here over them, and we're going to stick them in the oven next to the roast.
You okay?
All done. Steamy hot. Yummy goodness. In here I have the leftover roast meat, a bag of frozen vegetables, and the leftover gravy blended together, and I'm going to top it with our potatoes that I mashed up. All covered with the leftover potatoes. I will bake this tomorrow at 350 for about an hour. Sprinkle grated cheese over it, and you have 2 meals out of 1 night of cooking. Hey friends, I got my apron on, and it's lasagna night. So let's get started, and I'll show you how we do lasagna. We've got the ground beef cooking up there. Our water's getting ready to boil there so that we can cook up our noodles. And then our hamburger, the hamburger mixture, we're going to add basil, oregano, and then you can either get the Italian seasoned spaghetti sauce, or I have garlic and herb. I'm going to add my garlic and herb spaghetti sauce when the meat's done cooking. And then generally you would add basil and oregano. I only have oregano. I am out of basil. Otherwise, you would add some basil in as well. So that's our hamburger layer. Our cottage cheese layer. We have our extra large container of cottage cheese, an egg, and then normally you would add parsley, but I'm out of parsley. So we're going to have our cottage cheese, our egg, and our pepper, and I'll show you how we mix all of that up. Okay, so this is our middle layer, and I have my bowl here, and we're going to add our large container, 24 ounce of small curd cottage cheese. This is the only thing our family uses cottage cheese for. Otherwise, ugh. But we're adding that. One egg fresh from the chickens. And then our pepper. Normally we would add 2 tablespoons of parsley to this, but I'm out of parsley, so we're gonna skip that, and we're gonna add probably about a tablespoon of black pepper, and we're just gonna give this a good old mix. So there's our middle layer, and like I said, that's minus the tablespoon of parsley. Okay, our ground beef is done cooking. So we're going to add our large 24 ounce can of spaghetti sauce. This is garlic herb, or you can grab the Italian one. And then we're going to add about a tablespoon of oregano. And then I always add about a half of a cup of granulated sugar, just because our family doesn't like the taste of the acidy tomato, and the sugar helps cut that. So we're going to mix this all together, and this is our meat layer. So the meat layer is all mixed, and now we're going to let it rest, and our water's boiling, and we're going to boil our noodles for about 4 to 5 minutes. So here we have our first 3 layers in, and I'm just going to repeat the process. For the cheese, I grated up some Tillamook Sharp, and then I also have this Tillamook cheese blend that has mozza and Parmesan in it. So this is what we're cheesing it with. Put the last of the meat over the top. And then we'll add the last of our white sauce. Here's the last of the cottage cheese mixture. And then we'll top it with the last of our cheese. And we'll put this in the fridge until dinner time. So here's the finished lasagna. I just covered it with the last of the cheese. And we're going to bake it at 350 for 1 hour. And that's how we do lasagna. And welcome to Mix It Up Monday. Today we're mixing up some chicken parmesan. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Here we go. So here in this bowl I have Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. These are just the store-brand generic seasoned breadcrumbs. And so I am going to take these and I'm going to add some garlic powder. And I'm going to add some onion powder. And then I have an Italian seasoning blend here. And I'm going to add some of this in. And then I'm just going to kind of, that is our breading for our chicken parmesan. And then in this bowl, I'm just going to crack some eggs. So now I'm going to scramble these eggs up. And in my skillet here, I have some vegetable oil getting nice and hot and ready to fry up my chicken. And I'm just dunking my chicken in the egg and then into the parmesan breading that we made and right into the hot oil to fry up. Alright, so I'm doing my last few here. Get them all good and coated up in this breading. Slide them into my hot oil to fry up. Now my chicken is frying up all nice and pretty. And over here to go with our chicken, I have some carrots boiling up. And when these are done, I'm going to drain them off where there's just a tiny bit of water left, and then we'll mix in some brown sugar and have candied carrots.
Hi guys! I'm feeding my cat water because she's out.
So here's our chicken parmesan, getting all browned up, so pretty. And I'm gonna pull it out of the skillet and stick it here on this skillet to go in the oven to finish cooking. Okay, and now we're going to put this in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350 to get the chicken fully cooked all the way through. Alright, the chicken's all done, and I just sprinkled a little matzah on it, and we're going to pull our garlic bread out of the oven here in a minute and put the matzah back, or the chicken back in with the matzah on it so that it will melt down and get all nice and toasty bubbly under the broiler. So that's how we do chicken parmesan here at our house. Good morning. I'm getting dinner started early today in the crock pot, and I thought I'd share with you our simple crock pot steak that we usually, by the end of the day, it'll be so soft. We usually serve this over rice or mashed potatoes with a little gravy, and it is such a good, simple, quick meal. So I'm going to show you today how we make our simple crock pot steak. So good. So here in the crock pot, I have our steaks frozen out of the freezer fresh from the butcher shop. In this bottle, I have, this was like a remnants barbecue sauce. So I added water and shook it all up, and then I put my beef bouillon granules in there, I think I put about 3 tablespoons in there. I always just eyeball recipes, but So we put it in here and we shook it up. And so this is barbecue sauce water with beef bouillon. I'm going to add some Worcestershire, some onion powder, and garlic powder. If I had any onions or garlic, I would actually dice up an onion and put it in, and put some crushed garlic in, but I'm out of both of those. So powder today it is. Then I'm going to add some black pepper. And then you add about 1/4 of a cup of distilled white vinegar. And I don't have any, but normally I add a big can of crushed tomatoes. So we're going to make this a little different today, but it'll still be good. So here we go. Okay, so there I've got all my ingredients down in there, all happy. I've got the crock pot on high, and we're just going to cover this and we're going to let it go for about, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half or so. Should be about all it takes for it to loosen up enough for me to get these papers that are between the steaks out because they're frozen. And I'll pull those out and kind of mix it up and let it go for a couple hours and just keep kind of basting it through the day, and by tonight, it's going to be so yummy and tender over some rice or potatoes. Hey friends, I thought I would show you how our steaks are coming along. Let me move the crock pot forward so we can see. Alright. There's our crock pot. It's so nice and steamy. And look at those steaks. I steamed up the camera. Look at those steaks. They look so yummy. Oh my goodness. We're going to put them over some rice with some gravy and some sweet corn. I wish you could smell these. My house smells so good.